Hi, this is Donna from Clever Crafting. Thank you so much for joining me today. So this is quite a special card that we're making. It's called an infinity card. My friend Karen introduced me to this card. She actually showed me how to do it, so now I'm here showing all of you. So this is the front page, and we flip over into the second page. You can see I've got a room there to write my message. Then we're going to flip it over again to the third page. You notice that we saw a bit of the third page on the previous page. And now this is the fourth page. And one more timer will take us back over to the beginning again. So let's get started. You'll need 2 pieces of cardstock. I'll leave all the measurements down below, but these two are 14 centimeters by 14 centimeters. So I'm grabbing my little score buddy and I'm going to score it from one edge at 3.5 centimeters. Then I'm going to flip it over and on the other side do it 3.5 centimeters. So I've got these 2 score lines running parallel down the card, and I'm going to do the same on the other one as well. So once I've done them, I'm going to very carefully make sure that these are lined up, and I'm going to reinforce those scores. So I'm going to fold them one way, then I'm actually going to flip them back and fold them the other, which I do in a moment. So these should actually meet in the middle. So it's kind of like a tiny gatefold card. You can see here that I'm flipping that back the other way to really make sure that those folds are reinforced and that they move freely while we're doing the flipping around with the card. And I'm going to do the same to the other one again. So I've done both of that. To save us a bit of time, I cut it all out, but I do need to cut them in half. So you can see here that I have got my score lines going horizontally, so across the page, and I'm lining it up in my little cutter here, and I'm cutting it at 7 centimeters. So that is perfectly in half. As you can see, I'm just showing you there. And I've got the fold at the top and the bottom. So I'm going to do exactly the same again. So I've got the fold lines going across the page. So this is horizontally, and I'm going to cut them vertically through those fold lines. So I'm just putting these back on my board here and lining them up so it's as if they're the one piece of paper again, and I'm just using the other one as a guide, and I'm lining up the score line with the edge of the card and then with the score line on the card underneath, and I'm drawing a line. So effectively this is 3.5 centimeters in. So I'm making a little squares 3.5 centimeters by 3.5 centimeters. You can see I've sped this up now, and I've done it in all 4 sections, and now I'm putting a cross in these sections because this is where we're going to position the glue. This card is so easy to make as long as you get it right, that know where to put everything. It's not a problem. So I'm putting glue in the first corner here, remembering this is actually 2 pieces, and I've got my fold lines going horizontal on that one. This card that I'm sticking on in the corner there, I've got the fold lines going vertically, and I'm just gluing it in that corner there. So now just lining up that second piece of cardboard underneath, and I'm just going to flip that first fold section back. I'll just show you there. I'm flipping the first fold section back, and I'm popping glue in that little section again in the corner that I've marked with an X. Remembering that the 2 pieces underneath have got the fold lines going across, and the piece that I'm gluing on top have got them going up and down. So they're horizontal on the piece underneath and vertical on the pieces that I'm doing on the top. So now I'm grabbing the other piece and I'm doing the same thing, making sure that they do not overlap in the center. So what actually happened here is they did overlap a little bit, so I moved it down. The advantage of wet glue being that you'll be able to jig it around a little bit, which is great. And I'm going to glue the other side. So obviously I cut mine slightly out of whack and there was a bit of an overlap there. Not to worry, I am just going to trim that off. I wanted to leave that in because it's important that you know that you can actually just do a little bit of trimming if you need to when you've made the card. But that's it, that's our card. And you can see now that it folds out beautifully. I'm just practicing with it, just checking before I do any more decorating to make sure it works perfectly. What I did originally, and this was Karen's suggestion, is I made myself a template. So you can see that I put the first page was all pink paper. The second page I've got in that brownie color, but you can see the yellow underneath, which is actually the third opening. So you've got to be careful when you're decorating that you understand that part of the third opening is going to be showing on the second opening, and then the last opening there was all blue. and you'll be able to use that as a guide. So now you need lots of pieces. We need 8 pieces, this size of cardstock, which is 6.5 by 6.5. I'm not going to worry you with the measurements now because I will have them all listed below. But I am putting these larger squares in the larger square sections on the card. I'm not going to make you watch me decorate the whole thing, but I will be doing a little bit of it that you'll be able to see. So I'm just popping some glue on. I like to use glue with this because it is cardstock that I'm using, so the wet glue won't affect it, and it does give me wriggle room, which for me is quite important when I'm putting together the decorations on this particular card. So I'm going to glue that down. I'm going to glue the other one down. I think I skipped soon, yep. I've glued some pieces. So although I've cut all of enough rectangular pieces, enough square pieces in a larger size and a smaller size to cover every section of the card, I don't necessarily use them all. So you can see that I've decorated that one a little bit. I'm going to move on to the second page now. So I'm just going to leave the card in its correct orientation. So I'm making sure that I don't spin it around or anything, and then I'm going to go through the process of decorating. Here what I'm doing is showing you that when I'm doing the second one, I kind of half do the third one at the same time, because what I do on the third opening is going to show on the second opening. And when I first made this, I just put little strips down either side of the second opening thinking that's the way it works, but it doesn't. You've got to flip it over to the third opening and put the bigger squares down. Of course, you don't have to. It's your card. You can do whatever you want, I guess. So, but that's the way I've done it. And I'm just showing you here that you can see that if I put the fox on the third page, it's going to show on the second page. So I've decorated it up my second page, and this is where the template comes into its own, because you can see by using the different colors how the card and the decorating really needs to go together. So that's all lovely, and I'm just going to decorate that up a little bit more, add a few more bits and bobs. So here is almost a finished card. I just wanted to add a greeting. So when you get one of our kits, in the packaging, these are all greetings and things, and they're designed to run with this die set that you can purchase from Clever Crafting. And these dies will actually fit over all of the pieces in the packaging. If you don't have the die set, it doesn't matter, because you can either trim them or you can use other dies to cut them, because they're fairly standard sizes, which is great. And then you can use these on your cards. Now, I made a little bit of a faux pas here, and I put the birthday wishes down the bottom corner, which I didn't want it to be. I wanted it to be up the top. Thankfully, the glue was still wet, so I just ripped it up and put some more glue on. I'm going to put it in the right spot. So you can see that what I did is the second color that I've used on my card, I cut out to use as a background on that birthday wishes greeting. And I'm just putting, I might change where that is just plain down the bottom there, but at the moment I've decided just to leave it like so. So here is our finished card. This is the front page, the first opening, once again a space there for me to write my message, third page, and then we're going to flip it over into the last page, and then back again to the first page. So not as difficult as you may initially think. So it's a great little card to make. So once again, I really want to thank Karen for helping me out and introducing me to this card. I really hope that you've all learned something, and I'd love you to give it a go. Check us out over on our Facebook group. There's a link for our group below as well. You'll see heaps of varieties of this that we made from our online class. Leave me a comment if you'd like to be involved or find out more about our online classes. And until next time, I hope you all stay safe and happy crafting.